Imagine you didn't have breakfast this morning. How would that make you feel?
Hello, Sage. This is Cody. Or how? Wait a minute.
Imagine.
Oh, oh yeah, 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 oh yeah, 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 oh yeah. Check it out. Hear the echo in the night sky, with stars and headlights entwined. Tales of diesel and determination, living life beyond the white line.
There's a stretch where silence roars, sirens hum a solemn tune. Every journey writes a saga in the glow of the highway moon.
Sage Outcast Portrait, where the big lows, big roads meet.
Talking miles,
talking metal,
every ridge,
every ride,
every week.
Sage Outcast Portrait,
From the yard to the last white line.
if it's trucking and bone,
Deep hustle,
get tuned into that state of mind. Keep the fire
burning bright,
while the world
wave the night,
through the miles,
to the time,
we ride on.
in the endless climb. In the endless climb. In the endless
Sage. I'm sorry. Please don't record this.
Very well, I will not. Now, well, let me bring my camera up. I am back. Listen, let me turn on this too. Let me get this going on here behind me. I know. I am doing this in a vertical. I am now a vertical. So I have some issue. Well, I'm both doing a vertical and horizontal. Here's why. I'm going to start making some videos off this and making videos in the vertical format. I'm not really down with. So I am going to be doing this. Now, I'm on multiple platforms today. I finally got LinkedIn working. So this is a good thing. I actually reached out to them over at LinkedIn, and they got back to me, and I appreciate that, but I am over on LinkedIn. So I'm currently on YouTube and LinkedIn, which is good. So how I cannot see, I'll have to get a plugin for that. But so if you are over on LinkedIn, I want to thank you so much. If you're watching over on YouTube, I appreciate that also. But here's what we got going on here. And I don't know why this is not working. But I'm definitely going to be, and I'm streaming both vertical and horizontal over on YouTube. So some people might be watching on the vertical side. Some people are watching on the horizontal side. And we'll go from there. We will go from there. But I was back. So, well, they're not in my Discord yet. Once they get to my Discord, I'm going to tell them. But let's get the party started. We're going to talk a little bit here. Hello?
Hey.
Yes.
You are not Kevin Costner.
Very true. I am not Kevin Costner. This is Sage from the Sage Outcast Show, and here's what we kind of do here. We talk logistics, we talk trucking, we talk insurance, we talk sometimes some current events, pretty much, news and things like that, and we kind of go over things like that, which is a good thing. So, I am basically going to be talking a little bit about that. Now, I also ended up doing and pulling out the market conditions map from Truck Stop, so we can go over that in a second or two. But we're gonna start the. Hang on, let me grab this knucklehead here. All right, I already pulled him out of the room. Let me grab this knucklehead here. Pulled him out of the room, and let me grab this one here. Now, I understand currently you do not see my camera. That's because I have to restart my computer because I did an update. OBS wants me to restart my computer, and I didn't restart my computer. So you're just going to have to deal with me. Well, only other camera I can turn on is basically this camera, so you can basically see me, but I don't know if that's what you want to see. So Justin will be the first to respond. Oh, Justin.
Oh, for God's sakes, turn that shit off.
That's what I figured. Because all they can see backstage is a green screen and me. And they see everything that you don't see, they can see because I didn't do my OBS camera update. Anyways, all right, story time with Sage. We're starting the show with story time with Sage because Sage sometimes has some eventful aspects of life that kind of end up, for some odd reason, always end up being funny to others, but not funny to Sage. Sometimes, usually. Okay, so yesterday, new thing I'm doing, as you can kind of see on the screen, I've got some sponsors going on here, and we're going to talk a little bit about them. So, but either way, one of the things I'm doing now is I've been asked or brought onto a large insurance company to start up a trucking division for them that specializes in specialized equipment, open deck, things like that, heavy haul, and all that type stuff. Also, so you can go to oversightinsurance.com and you can check out that website. Also, Wix, if you're looking for any type of factoring for your business with a great rate. And they're also a bank. Wix, I'll be putting a referral link in my description down below, but definitely check out Wix and Search Carriers. Search Carriers is something we're going to be using a lot because I'm going to be showing a lot of people what you guys kind of look like to a freight broker. When a freight broker pulls that stuff up, Search Carrier is a great tool which you guys can get as a carrier, as a freight broker, as an insurance company, anybody you want. And it pulls a lot of information, and that's a great aspect. All right, commercials are done. Now, let's get on to story time with Sage. We'll come back to those commercials. So yesterday, I had to get, so in insurance, you have a resident. This is going to be boring, so if you want to take a nap, now's the time. If you're driving, don't take a nap while you're driving. But real quick, though, the speed version of this is in insurance, I have a resident. I'm a resident of Maine. My resident license is in Maine. But if I want to be able to sell insurance in other states, I have to get non-resident status. One of the states I wanted to do was California. Why? I don't know. But either way, I had to do that with the company I'm working with is out of California. So, California does not reciprocate with my state in regards to a friendly transfer of status of your insurance license. So I had to be fingerprinted. That's right. I had to be fingerprinted. And oddly enough, I know a lot of you probably assume that I have before, but I have never been fingerprinted. Technically, well, Coast Guard was something different, but I've never been fingerprinted. So I'm like, okay, well, it's fine. We'll go get to do the fingerprint thing. Now, so I called my local PD because you would think that they would fingerprint you, right? Your local police department. Sounds about right. And I said, I called 9-emergency line. I'm like, hey, quick question. This is Sage. He's like, yeah, what's going on? I'm like, I have to do this, and I have to get fingerprinted for my insurance. Do you guys do that? And they're like, no, we don't anymore. We used to have somebody in this area that did it, because it has to be on a special card, and they have to actually it's not computer fingerprinted. I actually had to have my, the ink put on my fingers and blah, blah, blah. And they said, yeah, we don't do that. I'm like, well, I could go, probably assault somebody. He's like, don't do that. Just go to Bangor. Just drive to Bangor instead. Just drive to Bangor. So I said, well, Bangor's like 2 hours away from me. An hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes from me. So I'm like, that's one way. I'm like, all right, drive to Bangor. Just go down there. So I call the guy down there in Bangor and I say, hey, I have to get this done. Are you doing this? Is this something you do every day? Are you going to be there? And he's like, well, I'll be here today. But, so it'd probably be best if you came today. Well, I didn't want to go today, meaning yesterday. I'm like, well, okay, let me talk to my wife because this is going to be an ordeal because we don't travel and there's stuff that has to happen if we travel. So I talked to her. She says, yeah, let's go. Get it out of the way. So I call him back. I'm like, hey, okay, I'm going to be there. I'm about an hour and a half away, so figure 2 hours, I'll be there. And he's like, fine. And then just before I go, I'm like, oh, crap, better call him again, make sure that what I need, if I need how many forms of identification, birth certificate, blood type, mother's maiden name, what do I need? He's like, no, you just need your driver's license. I'm like, all right, perfect. So we make the trip down there, and we get all the way down there to Bangor, and I walk in. It's a private investigator is basically what this is in his office. So I walk in there, and there's a sign right there, and the sign says appointments only. appointments only. I don't have an appointment. I called the guy 3 times. 3 times. And he never told me about an appointment. So the guy was taking care of somebody else in there, and he's back there with 3 people, and I don't know what they were doing, that maybe passports or TSA or whatever. And he comes out, and I'm like, hey, I called, and remember when I called 3 times, I was asking about the insurance stuff, and you never told me about an appointment. He's like, oh, yeah, that's not, no big deal. We just have to get through the appointment people first, and then I'll do you. I'll go ahead and do your fingerprints. So I said, okay, that's fine. So I sit down in the chair, and the person says, you're going to be here forever because people just keep walking in with appointments. And I'm like, these 2 ladies across, and I'm like, wait, what? She's like, yeah. We've been sitting here for 2.5 hours because we don't have an appointment, because he said the same thing to us. And every time people go in for appointments, he calls those people, and then more people come in for an appointment. And she's like, we had to take a ferry to get here because they came from, I think, I can't remember where they came. But they had to cross the ferry to come over to Maine to go to Bangor to come here. So they were like 2.5 hours to get here also to get their fingerprints done for TSA. All right. So finally, after I'm sitting there for I don't know how many hours to get there, and he comes out, and I can hear him talking to the customer service rep for the computer system. And the customer service rep for the computer system, the computer's now broke. It's broke. And now I swear to God, I didn't do this, but I would have loved to claim this. But the system's now broke, and he can't do, because it's a laptop for everybody else that's getting their hazmat or their passports or their TSA or whatever they're doing. Those are broke. Now, I'm not getting that. Okay? I need actual ink printing of my fingers. Okay? So, of course, I'm the first of everybody's like, he comes up, he's like, hey, it's going to be a little bit. I've got, customer service is logging into my stuff. So, of course, I stand up and say, whoa. I just need ink on my fingers. Perfect. And I felt like I scored. I'm like, yes, I am going to get this done. No problem. Now, in the back of my mind, I felt kind of excited that I got to skip everybody else. And I'm like, there you go, people. How do you like them apples? And he did get me in. And I did pay the $60 for that to happen. Well, this is where the story gets a little interesting. So I'm going, and we're like, I got to get something to eat. I'm starving. We've been there, I sat there probably 2.5 hours before before I broke the computer. Before the computer broke. And then I'm like, I got to get something to eat. And of course, Truck Diver, who's backstage in my Discord, which I now have comments just for the Discord. If you guys go to live chat, you can put comments in there for the comment section, just so you know. So, I got to get the comments to come over from, I'll do that later. Go to Burger King. That's right. I'm going to Burger King. I'm getting the Impossible Whopper. That's right. I'm going to, now not only am I going to get the Impossible Whopper, I'm going to get 2. Because I still have one now for lunch. So, reload. So basically what happens is I go there. Oh, God. Hang on. I go in there and I'm like, okay, look. I tell my wife, order me 2. Why should I order 2? Because like Truck Diver, he has high cholesterol. Well, he's gone now. But I figure to myself, well, if these are the Impossible Whoppers, there's no meat. So that means that not only there's no cholesterol, but if I get 2 of them, that's negative cholesterol. And now my cholesterol will be even better. True story. You can look that up. I don't know. Some doctor told me that. Maybe he wasn't a doctor. Actually, I don't know what that guy was. But he pretended to be. Either way. Anyways, okay. So I said, I'll be right back. I have to go to the bathroom. And this is where the problem started, okay? I am currently in not the best neighborhood, but I'm currently in go to walk into the bathroom in Burger King. And I've got boots on, okay? I've got boots on, not like traction sneakers and stuff and whatever. And normally, I can read English, so I know for a fact there was no sign out there that said slippery floor. Because trust me, there's no English language proficiency problem with me. Okay? There was no sign. So, I go into the bathroom in Burger King, and down I go. That's right. It was like a poetic fall that you would see in some Jackie Chan type movie. I'm reaching for walls, trying to grab the door handle, and down I go. That's right. I hit the ground. Now most of you would be thinking, holy crap, he's going to get rich. There was no sign. He fell in a bathroom, slippery floor. There was no slippery floor sign. Now, I know that what most of you would be thinking. I was more thinking, where am I going to burn these clothes? Okay? Because I am now laying on my back on the bathroom floor of a Burger King. The last thing that was going through my mind was getting rich. It was, where can I burn these clothes? And would it be weird if I drove home naked? My wife said it would. But I worked my way up to try. All I have to do is get to that urinal. That's my goal in this bathroom, is to get to this urinal. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm on wet ice, okay? Trying to get to, because I still have to go to the bathroom. You see what I'm saying? And I'm old. So when you got to go, you got to go. So, of course, I'm going to the bathroom, and I'm trying to go to the bathroom, and, of course, even my feet were listen, if you don't know the urinal situation, but you take a stance and you go to the bathroom, right? Even my feet were sliding further and further apart as I tried to use the bathroom. And I'm only so tall. You know what I'm saying? I'm only so tall. So finally, after the whole incident, the flashback, I'm surprised I can remember any of this, and my post-traumatic stress didn't erase it from my brain. It's sketchy, but I still remember. I leave the bathroom, and I go to my wife, I say, look at this! And she's like, what the hell, what did you do? Don't ask. Don't ask. Just know these clothes will be burnt. So, the person listening at the counter says, oh, did you fall in the bathroom? Yes! Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Yeah, we just mopped in there, the floor's wet. I swear to God. I said, do you know that there's signs for things like that? There's signs for things like that? Yeah, we forgot to put that out. We'll probably go put that out now. Probably go put that out. So that was punishment for me skipping everybody in line, yes, I think, when I went to go get my fingerprints. Because I'll tell you what, I was this close that if I didn't get my fingerprints before, I would have had to have had my fingerprints done after this event. Because when that person said, oh, did you slip in the bathroom? Yeah, we just mopped. Did you now? Did you now? So that was my eventful. And then we got in the car. I did not drive home naked. My wife thought that would be a bad idea. So we drove home. And she's like, I'll just wash the clothes. I'm like, wash them with fire. Do not wash them with water. We already have water on them, and I don't even know if that was water. Okay? So wash them in fire. So I don't know what she's doing. I'm hoping she's washing them in fire, because I'm never going to wear those clothes again. And I blame Justin for all of this. That's actually a true story. This is why I don't leave the house. This is why I don't leave the house, because when we mop the floor in the bathroom, we put out signs. Actually, we don't put out signs. Our bathroom's not that big. And not completely, whoever invented ceramic tiles completely in the bathroom without any type of traction on them, ceramic tiles should have traction, like grains of sand in there that grab your shoes when it's wet. It should be illegal. Somebody should invent some type of bathroom tile that has traction on it, because I'm telling you right now, let me tell you something too. Listen, I don't know if you know this or not, but there are a lot of hard surfaces in bathrooms. I found a couple of them yesterday, to be honest. On my elbow, I found a couple of them. So if you're ever looking for hard surfaces, bathrooms. I have hard surfaces. There's nothing soft going down well, I'm going to leave that out because that ends up being blown motor, blown training situation. But leave that out. All right. That being said, that was my handful yesterday. All because I needed fingerprints. Like I said, all because I needed fingerprints. Anyways, I could have just been like the guy from Broker Carrier 411 and just got trespassing, and then I would have been fingerprinted. But I didn't. I did it the right way I was supposed to do it. Okay. That was story time with Sage. That was yesterday. I was gone till I didn't get home till 5 o'clock. I didn't get home till 5 o'clock. By the time I drove there, drove back, plus sat in the office, so I didn't get home till late. So anyways, I was missed Discord and things like that. Okay. That being said, let us continue on with the events. All right. How was your day yesterday, Justin? He's not even listening. You know why he's not listening? He's not listening because I don't have a camera, and he's protesting right now. Anyway.
Out yesterday. I didn't see him all day, just about.
Yeah. How was your day yesterday, Teach? It was good? Did you fall in any bathrooms yesterday?
I did not, thankfully. Just dealing with my normal crap, playing Arc Raiders like crazy.
That's nice. That would have been nice. No, I actually didn't get hurt, though. I really didn't get hurt, to be honest. My back's fine. I didn't go crashing down because I was able to kind of grab the door handle and then, ease my way down. So it was more like a controlled fall. The problem is I still controlledly fell into something that they tell me is water. Now, I don't know. Again, I'm going to assume it's not.
I've seen the mop buckets that they use. I would be even more scared of those.
Yeah, that's what my fear is also. That was my fear also. But we're good to go now. We are good to go now. New clothes, took a bath, even found my local contamination center and walked through that. And stopping at the contamination center, they said, "What are you trying to contaminate from?" I fell in a Burger King bathroom. They're like, "Get right in, sir. Don't touch me. Get right in." And no, that's not that part was a joke. The other part wasn't. Okay, let's kind of talk about what we got going on here in the world and in trucking and in logistics, because we're going to cover some of that stuff. So, and then we're going to look at some of the spot markets, and I am going to turn the phones on. Let me turn the phones on. Okay, phones are on. Oh, I don't have a Sonia button. God darn it. I got to get Sonia. I don't have a Sonia button on this screen because this is my horizontal screen. Okay, let's kind of talk about what we got going on here with the war, basically. We got war going on here. So one, do we have boots on the ground? I don't know. I do know that the Kurds are prepping for an invasion, and we support the Kurds. So I'm thinking we're eventually going to have boots on the ground in Iran. Now, we won't know that until there's actually boots on the ground in Iran. They're just not going to inform us of that. So, there is tile like that. There's tile with traction on it. Oh, I swear to God, that makes it even worse. I didn't know that. So, what we do have that's going to be affecting pricing, and I did watch somebody, I think it was TC Boggs. Yeah, TC Boggs is another YouTuber who basically has no concept of how anything works, but pretends like he does. But, right here, what we got going on, I'm going to explain this a little bit. So you are looking at the Straits of Hormuz, and I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but I'm bad with names. Hormuz, close enough. Hormuz, whatever. You're looking at the Straits right here. Now, this is over here is Iran controlled. This is Iran controlled right here. See it? This is, that would be Saudi, right? Yeah, this would be Saudi over here on this side. Now, here is the predicament. Okay, and I should go back and find that. Did he say this? How long ago?
Whatever. They had no concept of that. So when they were coming up with this, it wasn't a thing because they were barely.
All right. So either way, I'll bring him over later. So here's the thing with oil. So a lot of people, even TC Boggs, was basically saying, "Hey, don't worry about oil prices going up. They're not going to go up. They're actually going to go down." Because OPEC's going to start pumping more oil, and they're going to, we're going to be fine. No big deal. It's going to go down with all of this. Wow. I took a picture yesterday of me on my way to Bangor, and the gas price was, I think, 304. 304? It's on my community page, 304. So it's definitely gone up. Teach said his went up 60 cents. Teach said his went up 60 cents, or either 60 or 40. He can probably jump in his area yesterday.
60
cents. So his went up 60 cents. Now, a couple things are going on here. Now, even though OPEC, let's say OPEC's going to pump more oil, which some are kind of worried about getting hit by Iran missiles and things like that. But even if they did pump more oil, that's not a thing if we don't have the oil tankers to get the oil out of there. There's only so much storage on land for this oil, right? These countries and the oil countries are basically designed that they're not just leaving oil stored in the pipeline, right? Or they don't have tanks on land that they're storing so much. I mean, they do have some, but again, they don't have a lot. They're designed to get the oil onto the oil tankers, and the oil tankers drive away. They sail away, right? Off they go. Now, sometimes oil tankers will fill full of oil and just wait to see for somebody to call and say, hey, we'll pay you this much for that oil. We'll pay you for that oil, right? And then they wait for like the highest bidders. So oil tankers are constantly coming in, even if they don't have a place to sell it yet. So the problem is, it's not that the country can't pump oil. The biggest problem we're having right now is the ships, all these vessels right here some of these are going to be filled, they can't get out. Some of these are going to be empty and can't get in. The problem is that they can't pump oil if there's no ships to take the oil away, okay? So that is going to cause the price of oil to go up because there's going to be a demand for oil because it's not solely about the amount of oil we can pump right now. It's the fact that we can't grab the oil and get it out of there, right? They're not filling any ships, any oil tankers. And just to give you kind of an idea, all of this red, the only red that you're seeing are tankers, natural gas, oil, and things like that. So now this isn't just oil. This is also natural gas. So this area does natural gas too, and fertilizer and things like that. So I know I'm saying oil, but it has anything to do with energy, basically. Oil, natural gas, stuff like that. So, like I said, although some people think that, I wish I could find that section. I should try to find that section, actually.
Getting on steam-powered ships going up and down, the rivers. That was incorrect from the very beginning. You have two illegals that pop out a kid.
No, I think it was before this.
Businesses interpreted it where SCOTUS is going to rule on birth. But guess what? Now the kid does. And this is a correction. It has to happen. That's a lot of damn people. You have lawless states because the illegals, it's too close. It is what it is. Now we got that. But the point is, America was not supposed to have everybody. That's how it was back then. I'm not saying it wasn't ending slavery is obviously a good thing, but that was the mentality back then.
That's something. I'll find the section. I'll do a short on it, and I'll do a short on this, kind of explaining this to him because this is kind of where the confusion lies. So we are seeing crude prices go up. Let me pull up crude oil prices. 5 days. It's basically up like what's that? $11. Yeah, it's up like $11 right now from 5 days ago. So you are going to see the price of oil go up. When crude oil prices go up, obviously more people eventually start drilling. Right now, we are profitable. Like about $70 to $80 a barrel, depending on the company you are. You become profitable. Depending on now, 80 would be the high end. You could be a low end of 60, but normally about 70 is where they'd want to be for pumping oil, right? To be profitable to pump a barrel of oil. So you are going to see the prices of oil go up. You're going to see the prices of gasoline go up because not only, even if we pump the oil here, we have to refine the oil, right? And even if we refine the oil, most of the refineries here in the United States are built to refine heavy oil, and we pump out light oil, sweet oil. Now, the reason they're designed to do that, and I've explained this to people, is if I'm a refinery and I'm buying oil, I can buy crude oil, heavy oil, way cheaper because there's way more heavy oil out in the world than there is light oil. So it's more profitable for me to buy that oil at a cheaper price and then refine it and then sell it for that to gasoline and for gasoline and purposes like that. Now, you probably are not going to refine like jet oil from heavy oil, but car oil you can. I mean, car gasoline you can, but jet engine fuel is going to come from a sweet oil because it's way more potent. Anyways, okay, you get the gist of that. Okay, so that's kind of what we got going on with the Straits. Now, the reason these are here, are all here, is insurance, basically. So they canceled the war insurance, right? And that all these vessels right now, that's being renegotiated. So you have a bunch of insurance that's being renegotiated, and it's probably going to bump the price up. And normally it's factored on a percentage of the value of the oil, of the load. So when you're doing, you might be like 3%. It might go up to like 3%. So if you got $100 million worth of oil on there, 3% is what the insurance is going to cost you to get that back. I am done finished shoveling snow. That's fantastic. But so that's kind of what they're negotiating now. So these ships don't want to go through here. Now, I know Trump came out and said that, hey, we're going to escort every ship that goes through there and we're going to pay for the insurance. That's not a thing. We don't have enough ships to escort every vessel that goes through there. We just don't have enough. I know everybody's like, oh, we've got lots of ships. No, we don't have that many. Because remember, not every ship can escort. You're looking for destroyers because we don't have frigates. So you're looking for destroyers. So now you're limited to, because destroyers are going to be able to shoot down any rockets that are coming in. We don't have battleships. So you're only basing it on like destroyers. And we don't have enough destroyers to escort all of these ships through there, right? And I know they wouldn't do it one at a time, but still, the amount of ships going back and forth, we just don't have enough ships. Now, we have enough to escort our vessels, and that's why France is sending one of their aircraft carriers, because they're probably going to escort their vessels through there, but we're not going to escort. We don't have enough ships to escort everybody through there. We just don't. And when it comes to insurance, I don't think we're going to offer insurance for all of these ships to go through there. We don't have enough money to offer the insurance for all of these ships to go through here, just as the United States. And then if ship starts taking hits, I mean, now you got to start paying out. That's going to be a problem too. So I know Trump said that, but that's not a thing, to be completely honest. That's not a thing. Which one goes first? Tanker, China, and Russia? I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. All right. So let me go here. I did the crude oil price. Oh, we're going to cover this real quick.
Gasoline and the risk of a recession. So did you know that the risk of a recession increases dramatically when the price of oil spikes up by 50% or more in a short period of time? When oil prices...
Also, spot note, actually, I'm going to do a short on this also. Do you know, if you are in trucking, do you know what the FMCSA PSP is? FMCSA PSP. It's kind of important.
Spike sharply. A recession has often followed. 1973, oil embargo. 1979, Iran crisis. 1990, Gulf War. 2008, of course. And in each case, oil prices rose sharply before economic weakness followed. But I just want to tell you this because this is very important to know, that the key is not simply a high oil price. No. So just to clarify, let's just say that oil gets up to $100 a barrel, okay? Markets can adjust and avoid a recession if oil gradually creeps up to that level, to $100 a barrel. What markets struggle with is when the price of oil spikes up and it remains there for a prolonged period of time. Therefore, the speed of the price spike matters, and the magnitude, like how much it goes up by, matters as well, and also the duration, like how long it stays at that elevated level for. Okay, with that being said, I want to show you this. You're looking at the price of a barrel of oil, WTI, and this is a one-year chart. Again, we're looking for speed, magnitude, and duration. So we're looking for a 50% or more spike in a short period of time that stays elevated for multiple months. Essentially, the bigger the spike, the more quicker the spike, and the longer it stays there will increase the odds of a recession. Now, I want you to take a look at this. Back in May of last year, the price of oil spiked by 28% over a month and a half.
But then it dropped.
But as you can see, the price quickly came down. So the magnitude was not 50% or more, and the duration...
Yes, but then it dropped. Hang on, let me turn on my ducking. Okay. Okay.
...was short. Now, I want you to take a look at what's going on today. In the past month and a half, so I'm just using the same time period to compare apples to apples. So in the past month and a half, the price of oil is up by 28% again, from 59 to 76. And what we're looking for to see if we're in danger is if the price of oil goes up by 50% or more, so basically to $90 a barrel or more, and relatively soon, and if it's going to stay there for a few months. And if it plays out like that, then that's going to be a red flag. That's going to be an elevated recession risk. And the risk goes higher, the higher that we go past $90 a barrel, the more quickly we get there, and the longer that we stay there. Okay, so with that being said, let's gauge the situation. And this is what we need to be paying attention to, the Strait of Hormuz, because this is one of the most important energy choke points in the world. Roughly 20% of global oil flows through that narrow passage.
Natural gas, same, fertilizer, things like that.
Recently, at least 5 oil tankers have been struck or damaged in that region, the Strait of Hormuz. So this isn't a theoretical risk anymore. These are actual commercial vessels that are being hit. And these oil vessels, they don't want to pass through there due to either the threat of physical harm or due to financial reasons.
Right. So some of the vessel lines are basically saying, yeah, we're not even going to go through there. Turn it around, but we're not going through there. So that's kind of where they're at now. I mean, one, insurance is great, and you definitely want to have the insurance to go through there. But the problem is that nobody wants to lose their vessel, right? Nobody wants their vessel struck or people get unalive, things like that.
Major insurers have canceled their war risk coverage for vessels going through the Gulf or the Strait of Hormuz. And that means that companies, like the shipping companies, they can no longer rely on their existing war risk policies. So listen, the situation is that if your insurance got pulled from one of these vessels, then the new rate is going to be as much as 12 times the old rates. And if insurers aren't going to...
12 times is high, to be honest. Like right now, the highest is about 2.5. It can be bumped up to maybe 3, maybe 5, I would see, but not really 12 times. Maybe so 3% or 5% of the value of your load is kind of how they calculate that.
Cover it, then commercial traffic is either going to slow down or it's going to come to a stop. So while the Strait of Hormuz, it may not be formally closed down, traffic has not resumed in a meaningful volume. So private insurance and shipping companies, they're still largely avoiding this area due to the obvious risk. So that's why oil prices are going up, because of the supply constraint. Now, President Trump has publicly announced that the U.S. Navy could escort oil tankers and commercial vessels through the Strait of Hormuz if necessary. And of course, I had to emphasize the could, because it's not guaranteed. And the goal would be to ensure the free flow of energy exports and stabilize global oil markets. Now, in addition, the administration is offering to provide insurance to oil vessels to encourage normal operations.
Yeah, I don't think he knows. He said that, but again, I don't think he truly knows the amount of some of these insurance that he would be insuring.
So I want to show you what he said. Effective immediately, I've ordered the United States Development Finance Corporation, DFC, to provide at a very reasonable price political risk insurance and guarantees for the financial security of all maritime trade, especially energy, traveling through the Gulf. This will be available to all shipping lines. If necessary, the U.S. Navy will begin escorting tankers through the Strait of Hormuz as soon as possible. However, I just want you to know that there's no guarantee that they're going to go through with this or to what extent, because it could jeopardize our warships.
Right. So you'd have to have, every warship would have to be through there. So, and like I said, we just don't have enough ships. We don't have enough destroyers to be able to escort every ship through the straits. It's just not possible. I mean, you're looking at 200 ships a day.
And if these oil tankers...
And more in the beginning, because they're all piling up.
Get their insurance, but they're not escorted, then I don't know how willing they're going to be to put themselves in harm's way. Okay, moving on, I want to tell you about the problems with rising oil prices. So several things happen simultaneously. Of course, you have gasoline prices rising, and that's going to affect consumers. Diesel fuel rises, and that's going to affect everything from farming to construction to shipping, etc. Jet fuel rises, and chemical inputs become more expensive. And I just want you to know, because a lot of people are not aware of this, that countless products contain oil-derived ingredients. Okay, like what? For example, makeup, perfume, lipstick, moisturizers, shampoo, conditioner, deodorants, polyester, nylon, spandex, plastic, paint, electronics, tires. I'm telling you, the list is endless. So if the price of oil goes up, then it's going to affect all these products and more. And when the price of oil rises, consumers spend more on everyday goods and necessities due to inflation. Now, let me show you the impact on gasoline prices as of today. In the US, the national average for a gallon of gasoline is currently at $3.20. Yesterday, it was at $3.11. A week ago, it was at $2.98. And a month ago, it was at $2.89.
Wait, where's the $1.99? Yeah, anyways.
And I just want you to be aware that these are national averages. In California, it's at $4.74 a gallon. And that's just the state's average. Like, I'm sure that there's cities within California where it's much higher. Okay, the bottom line is that when the price of oil rises, consumers spend more on everyday goods and necessities. And when people are spending more on necessities, then they're going to spend less on discretionary items. And the US is a consumer-driven economy. Consumer spending makes up 70% of US GDP.
True.
So even modest pullbacks in discretionary spending can ripple through the broader economy, which is going to increase the risk of a recession. And of course, it's not just consumers. Small businesses, industrials, airlines, logistics companies, retailers are all going to face higher input costs when the price of oil is going up. And many of these companies, yes, they can eventually pass these higher costs down to the consumer, but oftentimes they can't do it immediately. And it's going to hurt their margins, it's going to hurt their profits, which can lead to layoffs. And of course, if corporate earnings are going to go down, then it's going to be a headwind for the stock market. And then there's going to be consequences on monetary policy from the Federal Reserve. Because if you have oil prices rising up like that, then that's going to impact CPI headline inflation. And that's going to put the Federal Reserve in a difficult position if inflation is elevated. So if the price of oil spikes up, then the Federal Reserve may delay rate cuts. They may keep their policy tighter for a longer period of time. And they're basically going to be signaling caution. In other words, it's just going to become a more challenging environment for the Federal Reserve to come to the rescue with an easier monetary policy. But I do want to throw in there that it's my personal belief that Trump's new Fed chair is still going to cut interest rates, like regardless of the situation. But the new Fed chair may not be able to cut as deeply as they want if oil prices remain elevated due to higher inflation. And I just want to tell you this, like I've said this before, and it still holds true. Like we, the United States of America, cannot afford a recession, especially right now. That's because if we have a recession, then tax collection, so tax revenue is going to go down. And then stimulus spending is going to go up, which means even more debts for the federal government and a higher debt to GDP ratio. So I mean, take a look at this. This is coming straight from the US Treasury. Like we're about to cross $39 trillion in debts very soon. Now, putting all this together, rising oil prices increases the risk of recession through four main channels. You have the inflation pressure, the consumer squeeze, higher input costs for businesses, and tighter monetary policy. And oil is rising due to the situation of the Strait of Hormuz. And the Trump administration is trying to fix the situation, but we're going to have to wait and see to see if it works. Okay, so just take a look at this article title. It says, the closure of the Strait of Hormuz is a guaranteed global recession. However, because of what we covered today, I disagree.
Again, it's not really closed, okay, where they're like, sorry, nothing's coming through. There's just a threat of attack and an issue with insurance. So ships can technically go through, but it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very interesting. All right, let me kind of get rid of that one. Now, so if you are out there, and remember, diesel prices are going to go up. Now, a thing in regards to trucking is that's great because you get a higher fuel surcharge if you're on contracted rates. Okay, so if you're on contracted rates, you get a higher fuel surcharge. That's a good thing. If you're not on contracted rates in your spot market and your spot pricing, you're getting that one-time price, that all-in price. So one of the things you're going to want to negotiate is make sure that you try to get a higher price to cover fuel costs. Now, that's great if you get good fuel mileage, but that's going to be huge. A huge factor is trying to get as best fuel mileage as you possibly can. Now, if there's any, like if you're running like 3-axle trailers or things like that, and you have a lift axle, lift the axle when you're empty. Lift the axle if you don't need it. That's all part of getting better fuel mileage. So that's factors too. If you can't, or flip the axle up if you're a flip. I know you don't get the greatest mileage if you're a heavy haul or OD anyways, but you do when you deadhead. So try to get the most fuel mileage as you possibly can when you're deadheading, because when you're loaded, you're not going to get that much. All right, let's go into trucking. So first thing we're going to do is check out market conditions right here. Let me put that on screen. All right, so right now, flatbed is a booming. Flatbed is doing, did I pull that article? Did I pull the article? I think I did. Right here. Let me pull this article. Nope. Let me go to my mail. I blame Burger King bathroom, basically. All right, above 40%. Yeah, right here. Oh, it's on X. It's right here. Craig Fuller. So Craig Fuller from FreightWaves. He's the owner of FreightWaves, specialist in his field there of trucking and keeping this data. Flatbed rejection rates are on fire. Just like my clothes, they're on fire. Well, not these clothes, but the clothes that I found in the bathroom. 40%. Now, a flatbed rejection means we don't have enough flatbeds out there to cover the amount of freight. So we're losing capacity of flatbeds, which I say is a big portion of hotshot equipment that are leaving the market. Because of the English language and all that type stuff. So that, I feel, right there is a big portion of it. But it is on fire. If you are hauling open deck, flatbed, step deck, be advised that that's a big one. That's a big one. So, now we got to find out where this flatbed freight, I'm on flatbed freight right now, is all at. So Maine is a rockin' with flatbed freight. Why? I should look into that because I have no idea why Maine's a rockin'. New Hampshire, Maine, coming out of the Carolinas, Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama. These are all in the red with flatbed freight. Also, you have Michigan. Michigan's up there looking really good right now for flatbed freight. Okay? So If you are right now, the best thing if you were running flatbed, I'd probably stay Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia area, because if you can run north, west, east, west, you're going to be doing pretty good. You're going to be staying in the red zones. If you can get a high-paying load up to Maine, well, there's not a lot of flatbed trucks up here. A good portion is we need flatbeds out of here we do lumber, we do stuff like that, construction season, so it's probably lumber, wood, trees. I know they do a lot of logging here. But so you probably have a lot of lumber coming out of here also, and nobody wants to come up here because of the snow. So if you're not afraid of the snow, you can take advantage of that and probably grab a lumber load and get it on out of here. Come get it. We got it. Also, Michigan, if you want to run north-south, like I used to run north-south right through here. Boop. I used to go Mississippi up to Indiana, and then back down again. If you're going to run north-south, then run up to Detroit, back down to Mississippi or Alabama, and you can run north-south. Tennessee's not looking so good right now. But, like I said, so I would either run west, east, west, and I'd run Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, and start looking for loads in this area. Or, if you're not afraid of the snow, I'd run Detroit down to Alabama. I mean, if you end up having a great load going to Maine, you got a chance of getting out of there. But I wouldn't risk it because Maine can turn blue and very quickly, not only for voting purposes, but also for freight purposes. All right, specialized equipment, clickety-click. Specialized equipment is going to be the ports. Because remember, if you are running specialized equipment, double drop, things like that, we're going to be sending stuff overseas. Like it or not, I just think we are. I watched some planes go overseas, so I think that we're going to be sending some stuff overseas. So that's going to be going to the ports. And Baltimore Port is where a lot of your overdimensional and your what we call flat racks, your flat racks get loaded to go overseas, leaves out of Baltimore. So you're going to be running that port. So you're going to be grabbing stuff, Arkansas, obviously Texas, Fort Hood, Texas and stuff like that you might be grabbing. But you're definitely going to be hitting these ports. So I know right now Florida is basically a lot of trucks, but there's some loads down there, which more than usual, because like I said, things are coming in and out of the port. So loads to trucks. Let me click here. Loads to trucks. You're looking at about 42 trucks, 806 loads. That's good. Florida, you're looking at about 142 trucks to about 1,800 loads in Florida. This is specialized equipment. So you're kind of running around ports. Tennessee's looking good for specialized equipment. Indiana, Iowa, might be farm stuff heading into Iowa and in and out of Iowa. Detroit, Michigan. But definitely be looking at the port. What is this? Why is Vermont booming? Oh, because there's 18 loads to one truck. Ignore that. That doesn't mean anything. All right. And a quick look at van. If you're doing van, Wyoming is looking good for some reason. There's 4 trucks to 477. All right. So same thing. I'd be running north-south. When I pulled my van, I ran north-south. I ran Mississippi. I hate this thing. Mississippi to Indiana. I ran north-south. So definitely stay in this area if you're pulling van. All right, that's the gist of that. All right, this one we're going to get rid of. This is going to get rid of this. We're going to talk about this.
Another tip you should mention about speed, driving too fast, because you could mess up and blow your tranny too if you're not careful.
I swear to God. That's an inside Discord joke, and I hate this. I hate Truck Diver. All right, let's go here. But this is one that he did bring to my attention, which I did not know they were looking at. Oh, hang on. Let me do this.
Wait a minute. Hold the phone. I thought he already blew a tranny when he fell in the Burger King bathroom.
No, that was after. Okay, because that's when my back got wet. All right, but that was the other stuff got wet. Okay. So let's kind of go here real quick. So this is ELD news. If you're in the trucking industry, ELD news. ELDs are going to be gone. They're going to remove these from service. The one that I don't know many of these other ones. But the big one that popped out was ClearPath ELD. Truckers Path Pro. That one there is one that if you're using that, it's gone. Now, they're going to be doing a blitz. And the blitz is going to be focusing on ELD manipulation. Okay? They're going to be coming after you if you're manipulating that ELD. So be advised. Let's listen to Big Mother Trucker.
What's going on, Mother Truckers? I want to give you a live update real quick. So if you are around, Lima, Ohio, well, Wawa is opening their third travel center on March 19th. I will be there, and 5806 doors open custom for Heroes Hoagie opportunity. Out. So this custom, and we'll see you on March. And there is only room for 18 drivers total to 3.5 million.
All right, here we go.
What's going on, Mother Truckers? So FMCSA makes this public announcement to 3.5 million truck drivers out there, and there is only room for 18 drivers total. But for the 18 drivers, this might be some of the most important work that you ever do, and the reason why is because it could change the way and the scope of the hours of service for all the truck drivers out there. That's like we're bringing in our A-team, and so if you want to be one of the 18 drivers to make a difference, this can be a big help. And they want to pay you. I've never heard of FMCSA want to pay anybody, but it's a whopping $600, or it says up to $600. So let me give you what this is, and I'm going to put the link down below so that you guys can read it as well. But I think this right here can be extremely important because if it changes hours of service, then hey, that has a lot to do with everybody on the road today. So FMCSA, right, like I said, is currently running a pre-test pilot with only 18 drivers total. So 9 drivers will be for his flexible sleeper berth, FSB, and the other 9 drivers for split duty period, SDP. This is not open, like I stated, to everyone. They are looking for a very specific limited group to test the designs and data collect tools before they actually have a bigger program. So I think they're doing it right on this. So here's the eligibility requirements here. It says to participate in the specific pilot, a driver must have a valid CDL, and be able to operate a commercial vehicle, be part of a participating motor carrier, company driver, or owner-operator. So it's really all the drivers out there. Agree to collect data for 6 weeks. So wear devices, upload rods, do questionnaires, etc., and follow instructions for the FSB or the SDP pilot program. So this is why not all drivers can sign up as of now. So this is a very structured research study with limited slots available. So, if FMCSA expands the pilots or implements new hours of service rules based on these studies, all truck drivers could be affected by this. Tell me, would you apply for something like this? So let's get into the details a little bit about the difference between the 9 drivers that would pick the flexible sleeper berth or the split duty period, and how is that different from the hours of service today. So right now, if you're an over-the-road truck driver, you have to drive, of course, 14-hour window, right, when you start your day. And then you have a total time of up to 11 hours to drive. We know that already.
True.
Right? Your rest options are sleeper berth are limited to only a 8-2 split or a 7-3 split. And once the 14 hours starts, every minute after that counts, right? And we all hate that, right? So the rules are very strict, and it's not flexible at all. I mean, imagine you do your pre-trip, you start your day, next thing you know, you get a flat tire like 5-10 minutes or 10 miles down the road. That messes up your hours of service, right? That 14-hour window does not stop. So let's talk about if you were to jump on this pilot program to help make a difference. Let's start with the program Flexible Sleeper Berth FSB. So this expands the splits from that old 7-3 or 8-2 to include a 6-4 or 5-5 split. What do you think about that? Drivers can now fine-tune their sleep, resting when it works best, and driving when they're most alert, right? That's the biggest thing, right? People complain all the time and say, Alex, these ELDs, these hours of service, all it is making me drive when I'm sleepy, and then when I'm at the truck stop or rest area, twiddling my thumbs, that's when I'm not sleepy, but it's forcing me to stop. You will still get equivalent of 10 consecutive hours of off-duty with just more flexibility, right? So the number 2 program, split duty period, the SDP, lets drivers pause the 14-hour driving clock for 30 minutes to 3 hours during off-duty sleeper or on-duty at pickup delivery. So that right there is a major difference, right? Being able to pause your clock for 30 minutes to 3 hours, right? Imagine what that would do for your day. Maybe you'd feel less rushed, right? So that means that, you're stuck waiting at the dock or you don't have time to eat. Well, guess what? That 30-minute to 3-hour pause, that can make a big difference. So definitely the current rules right now do not allow you to pause your clock like that. So again, even if you're not a part of these 18 drivers that are being tested, right?
I don't know about I'm not, maybe truck driver, maybe I'm not so much as the 6-4 might not be a big deal, but that 3-hour pause would be a big deal, right? Or do you like both?
Well, you're talking about on the local side?
Well, no, like the 7-3 split, right? 8-2, 7-3, also going to a 6-4, 5-5. Is that? I don't know. I mean, that's fine. That's great, but I don't think that's as big as a deal as the 3-hour pause, right? Or do you think so?
I wouldn't think so either.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so either. All right. That's interesting. I want to see how that actually pans out and how long this takes, because I do like the 3-hour pause. All right, let me do this real quick here. All right, here. All right, yeah. So we're gonna go with. All right, real quick. Okay, so again, like I said, I am. If you don't know, I am. I have a CDL, been owner operator, been a carrier, freight broker, all the good stuff. It's like the mafia. Once you get in, you can't get out. So I've been in trucking for over 30 years, to be completely honest. I took a 4-year break, so let's say 26 years. Well, and I went in the Coast Guard, and then went back into trucking. So one of the things that I think we're going to get rid of you for a sec. One of the things that is a big deal, and I'm actually shocked on how many people don't know this, is, okay, let's back up for a second before I get off sidetracked. So the FMCSA and DOT is now going to be doing way more in regards to compliance. You guys wanted it. We all wanted better compliance. We wanted carriers to be out of this if they didn't have proper compliance. If they didn't speak English, if they didn't do that. Well, the outcome of that is not just the English language compliance. It's all compliance. Like, freight brokers are now looking more and more at your compliance records. We're looking more and more at your safety scores. We're looking more at your carriers. We're using AI tools to go through and check and see, how good of a carrier you guys are and things like that. Your records that you have with using my brokerage and stuff like that. So when we go to onboard a new carrier, if you don't have, we're looking at possibilities of fraud. We're looking at possibilities of chameleon carriers and things like that. We are now being told to do way more. I mean, I kind of did it before, but we're doing more of this now. So when it comes to compliance, you guys got what you asked for, because now freight brokers are going to look and say, hey, you don't have enough time under your authority. You don't have an inspection, or the inspection you have, you've got an out of service rating that no longer qualifies you to be able to haul the load. Now, I know a lot of people think that, well, yeah, but if it starts to get tight and prices start to get high, brokers are going to ignore that. Some might, most will not, because what's happening now is it's no longer our decision. There's a lot of automatic systems that are basically just saying, sorry, you can't use that carrier. Because the risk of using that carrier outweighs the risk of not finding the truck for the day. And it's better to go back to my customer and say, hey, the only carrier that wanted this load was basically a carrier that did not qualify for to meet your safety standards as a safe carrier to protect your company and liability. So freight brokers are now doing this more and more. And they should. They should. Now, one of the things I don't know if you know about, or carriers know about, is the FMCSA PSP. God damn it, too many letters. The PSP is, I think it's, I don't know what it even stands for. I can't remember what it stands for. I forgot. Anyways, let's kind of go over this real quick. So if you're a carrier and you have a driver that you're looking to hire, well, that driver could have just left another carrier after getting that carrier 42 out of service points because they didn't check their lights, they didn't check their tires, they didn't do a pre-trip, they don't know how to do their logs and all this other stuff. Okay? So the FMCSA PSP is something that you have to get permission for, when they're filling out their application, they would fill this waiver out and you'd have to get permission from the driver. What it actually does is it allows you to see all of the violations that driver got in any inspections. Meaning if he rolled through a scale, now that's an MRV, a motor vehicle record, is not going to tell you this. Okay? That's going to tell you if he has any tickets or accidents and things like that. But the PSP costs about $10, I think, approximately. And you run that on every driver before you hire them. And that shows you if they were out there getting inspections and racking up points, it's the opposite in trucking. You don't want to rack up points, and it's not like basketball. Racking up points against the safety score of the carrier that they just drove with. Okay. Now I'm starting, like I said, I'm a part of heading up a division of an insurance company that we are now specializing in trucking. And we're specializing in specialized equipment, and we're specializing in compliance. We want to help people My job as an insurance agent, I know it's going to sound weird. I'm actually a transportation risk advisor. I've got, I just passed another test and got more qualifications, blah, blah, blah. What I want to do is, as your insurance company, is not just give you a price, and I want to make it where I get you the best price I can possibly get you so that I help you grow. I want you to stay with my insurance company for as many years as you're, looking to be in trucking. I want to help you grow. I want to get you better safety scores. I want to get you the cheapest insurance I can get you so that you can use that money, put it back into the company, and grow the company. That's my goal. That's what I want to do. I want to be an honest guy in a world of liars. And that's a lot to be said, but that's my goal. Well, one of the things that we do here is we have meetings. You can book a meeting with me, or technically my boss, and he does more of the compliance end of it. He's really, really good at it. We have software that we can look at to take a look at the same stuff that underwriters look at. So one of the things that you should be doing before hiring a driver is getting a PSP.
PSP. FMCSA PSP is a program that is provided to help companies screen potential truck and bus drivers. It's like an MVR, but for roadside inspections.
So it's like an MVR, but for roadside inspections.
A PSP report will provide all roadside inspection activity for a driver for the last 3 years and all of their reportable crash information for the last 5 years. A PSP report.
So it's not like DAC. This one is from the FMCSA, and it's going to do 5 years for crashes, 3 years for roadside inspections.
It provides insight into how drivers will operate while working for you and should be part of your efficient and comprehensive driver qualification screening process. What does PSP mean? If you're wondering what exactly PSP is, it's an acronym for
there it is. Pre-employment screening program. Nailed it. Actually, I told you I couldn't remember.
Pre-employment screening program. This program was developed by the FMCSA as a way to ensure that every driver is qualified to operate CMV equipment safely on public roads. Why is PSP important? If your company hires drivers for its fleet of large commercial vehicles, then you should be aware of the great tool that the FMCSA has provided for.
Now, a lot of people I've asked, a few have known, but a lot of ones that I've asked had no idea about this. No idea. Now, here's one of the things. Here's I'm going to be doing this kind of a study. The people that have 5 trucks or less don't know about this. People that have 5 trucks or more know about this. Well, seems like 8 trucks or more. Seems like 8 trucks or more, actually. So that's weird.
You're not required to use the pre-employment screening program, PSP, but it's a great idea. The FMCSA PSP program provides an easy way for employers to check an applicant's roadside inspection record before making a job offer, helping ensure they are hiring someone who is qualified, safe, and reliable. What is the purpose of a FMCSA PSP report? The purpose of a PSP record is to provide a safety benchmark for trucking companies when considering applicants for driving positions. Employers can
did you guys see that trailer? That trailer kind of looked kind of
to provide a safety benchmark.
Maybe it was just a reflection.
When considering applicants for driving positions. Employers can use the information they get from PSP to make more informed hiring decisions by looking at past incidents like crashes and violations before hiring a driver. How much does a PSP report cost? CDL drivers can obtain their driver PSP report for $10 by requesting it through the FMCSA PSP portal login screen. For trucking and bus companies, each report costs $10 plus you have to pay an enrollment and annual fee based on the number of vehicles that you are running. Currently, the enrollment and annual fee is $25 if you're running less than 100 power units.
$25 for 100 trucks or less.
Why use FMCSA PSP? Using PSP will help screen out drivers who may be less qualified or more likely to get into accidents than others with better-looking driving records.
Yeah. So if I'm looking at a guy to hire a guy, and this is something that you guys, and this also goes back to, hey, we're hiring all these drivers. Now if you don't have any driving record, it's not going to be on there. But we're hiring all these drivers, and these drivers shouldn't be driving for us, and they're bad drivers, and they shouldn't be in the country, and they don't speak English and stuff like that. But my question would be, are we even using the tools? And I know we should be blaming the FMCSA. I get it, right? They're not doing their job. But are we even using the tools that the FMCSA is even providing us? And that's a question that I think that we need to make sure that we know about. Now, I do understand that it's overwhelming. You start a trucking company, and there's a lot of hustlers out there, right? There's a lot of people that they're hustlers. They're good business. They're not good business owners, but they're runners. They want to build their company fast. They want to, start this. They want to have 6 trucks. They want to do this, and they're good hustlers, right? but they're not good business owners. So what we're kind of seeing is trucks, trucking companies with 1 to 5 trucks they might be good hustlers, they might be good runners, they're hard workers, and that's great. But now they started a business, and they're not a good business owner. And a good business owner, you have to do way more than just be a hustler. You have to be able to tell people, no, I'm not hiring you. No, you have a bad record. No, and the problem is a lot of them think to themselves, well, if I hire this guy, I'm going to be able to make 20% off of all the money he makes. But how much is he going to cost you in the end? He could cost you your company. So this is where, even for me, for insurance, I'm not going to take everybody. There are going to be some companies that I just say, I'm sorry, I'm at this time, I'm not interested in working with you. Right? Now, I might point them in a direction on why, but there's going to be some carriers and drivers and stuff that are just just don't fall under the criteria that I set for working with the people that I want to work with. I need to build, my goal has to be accomplished. My goal is growth in your company. I want your company to grow. I want you to be successful. I want you to be compliant, and I want you to go from 5 trucks to 10 trucks to 15 trucks to 20 trucks to whatever it is. If I don't see a potential of you growing because either the decisions that you're making or the fact that you just don't want to grow, some people just don't want to grow, and that's fine too, I'm probably not going to work with you in regards to her, because I'm only one guy right here if you want to work with me. Now, I do have other people at the insurance company that I'm going to be training that are going to, I'm only going to work with Open Deck. I have a couple vans that I'm going to be bringing on just because I know them and they're friends of mine. But besides that, I'm only going to be Open Deck. So these are the kind of the criteria I'm setting for myself. But you have to, as a business owner, you want to kind of set the standards that you need to look at when you start looking at these drivers. And you need to start using the tools that we already have.
In fact, companies that use the FMCSA PSP to screen new hires lower their crash rate by 8% and driver out of service rates by 17%.
They lower it by 8 and 70% of out of service. That's good. That's good, because I'm telling you right now, freight brokerages and shippers and anybody that's going to load anything on your truck because of new laws, new regulations, new nuclear verdicts are starting to say, you guys have no idea. I'm telling you right now, I'm giving you a heads up. The amount of compliance that is going to be placed on for freight brokers and the standards that are going to be put down on carriers, they are going to try to drive 1 trucks out of the market. And they're going to try, if you have 1 truck, you're just not, I don't need you, to be honest, as a freight broker. I'm going to be looking for multiple 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trucks because those are the carriers I'm going to give my freight to, because the 1 truck guys are just too dangerous. They're just too dangerous.
On average, by helping your safety department or recruiting team quickly screen out drivers who may be less qualified, you'll reduce your company's risk of accidents and violations. How do I enroll in the FMCSA PSP? You can easily enroll online at the FMCSA PSP login page. Do you have to have permission to order a PSP report?
Yes.
Yes. The FMCSA requires that you obtain a driver candidate's permission in order to run their PSP report.
And that's easy. You just, when you're filling out the application, you just give the driver the waiver to sign. He signs the waiver like, hey, if you want this job, I have to run your PSP. If he says no, then you don't hire him. Just move on. Sorry, move on.
Report. Can I order a PSP report for my current drivers? No, the PSP report should only be run on driver candidates. The pre-employment screening program is a service provided by the...
Yeah, you should already know what your current drivers have, to be completely honest. Right? You don't need one for your current drivers.
Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration to help you make an informed decision about who will drive for your company. It's a very useful tool and one that should be used by all trucking and bus companies. To learn more or sign up for the program, visit https://
All right, I just want to put that out there because that needs to be put out there many times, because if it's something, if you do schedule a book meeting with me, it's going to be something I'm going to be asking you. And if you're not running it, we're going to make it a part of your onboarding procedures for bringing on any type of drivers. All right. This is Hot Shot with DD214 Transport. He has a lot of good information. I suggest that you subscribe to him, and we're going to be doing the DOT. He's going to talk a little bit about DOT Crackdown real quick here. I'm going to slow this down. I don't need to be on 2-speed now. Let's do 1.5. Let's see if that's...
In a year, that's
big money.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about something that can cost you a full day's revenue. Okay?
Or more.
You're going to lose a whole day. And that is the CBSA's enforcement tightening around ELD tampering, as they should. If an inspector now cannot, okay, think about this. If the inspector cannot determine your actual drive time, you are placed out of service for 10 hours, period. There's no debate, no warning. You are parked. What the inspectors now are going to be, what the inspectors now are going to be looking at, it is supporting documentation. This is just out, by the way. They're going to be looking at this more than ever. So examples are fuel receipts. Okay.
All right. Listen to me. Listen to me. This is becoming a big deal. Everybody wanted this. Back this up. Everybody wanted this. Everybody wanted better compliance. You wanted the FMCSA to step up. You wanted them to do more, be a part of this more. Well, that doesn't just categorize one category of people. That's now all of us. Well, all carriers, right? That's now all carriers. So now you don't just have the FMCSA doing this stuff. You have insurance companies doing this stuff. You have brokers now doing this stuff. Welcome to the world.
What the inspectors now are going to be, what the inspectors now are going to be looking at 10 hours, period.
All right.
Determine your actual drive and not tampering.
Back us up.
That's big money.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So now let's talk about something that can cost you a full day's revenue. Okay, think about this. You're going to lose a whole day. And that is the CVSA's enforcement tightening around ELD tampering.
All right, ELD tampering. Actually, there's a lot of ELD tampering going on, to be completely honest. That was another big aspect of things with they were bringing out the fact that they could just log in the back end of the ELD, and next thing you know, you got a full 70 hours to run again, whatever it is. Okay, so tampering on the end of anybody in dispatch, and tampering on the end you if you're doing it.
As they should. If an inspector now cannot, okay, think about this. If the inspector cannot determine your actual drive time, you are placed out of service for 10 hours.
You're done. You're placed out for 10 hours. I can't determine your actual drive time. Show me.
Period. There's no debate, no warning. You are parked. What the inspectors now are going to be, what the inspectors now are going to be looking at, it is supporting documentation. This is just out, by the way. They're going to be looking at this more than ever. So examples are fuel receipts. Okay. Did you go off duty while you fueled? Guess what? You can't. You've got to be on duty when you fuel. They're going to be looking at your toll records. So if your logs show you off duty and you're showing a toll receipt when you're supposed to be off duty.
Problem. That means you went through a toll while you were supposed to be off duty.
No, they're going to bust you for it. You're going to go down 10 hours. No question. They're going to look at your bills of lading. Okay. Understand this. Your bills of lading are going to have times of pickup, dates of pickup. All this stuff is dating you to where you are. Okay. When you do a new entry safety audit, they take a full month of records, and they do a forensic accounting on them and go down. You got fuel here.
Now, this is true. I had a buddy who worked for the FMCSA doing these inspections. His name was Toby, and he's no longer with them. That's what he did. He showed up and he said, time to look at your records. And he basically went step-by-step accounting, both sides, and found out where things matched and where things didn't match. He didn't give a shit. He used to tell me that people would give him a milk crate. They just put all the records in a milk crate and they'd hand him the milk crate. He didn't give a shit. He didn't care. He's like, I will search that milk crate. I don't care. Make it harder for me. See how harder I search. I made it real when he came to do mine, because I met him when he did my inspection, my first audit. I had everything by all the months. I had my kitchen table cleared, my dining room table cleared, and I had each month. I had January, February. I had two at that time. I had two trucks. So I had January, February, March, and then I had each truck separated, all their logs, and then I had the maintenance report. So when he walked up, he was like, "Holy shit! Wow." He's like, this isn't normal. I'm like, yeah, well, you let me know what you need. But it's all separated by month. Their logs are in there. Their drivers are in there. That if they got there, because we did quarterly inspections. If they got there, so if you pulled up March, the first thing you're going to see is the quarterly inspection for the truck that they drive, and the DOT inspection, and then you're going to see all of March's logs. You're going to see all of that. And all of that was in there. All of the fuel receipts were stapled to the logs. All of that was stapled, like when he did mine.
On duty at the time.
But I'm OCD.
You are showing off duty here. You were under a load. Were you driving in personal conveyance at the time? Were you moving
that's what
that
I was
load
gonna say.
forward at the time? So they're going to be digging in it. All right.
That personal conveyance is going to bite a lot of people.
Oh, a lot of people. So dispatch messages. All right. If you're supposed to be off duty and you are communicating back and forth with dispatch half the night, they're not going to do it, brother. They're going to put you out.
That's pretty hardcore.
Oh yeah, scale timestamps. They're going to be doing a forensic analysis on this stuff. All right.
Oh, you were off duty when you got this. You got scaled out at 10:15, but you're showing off duty at 10:15.
Yes, exactly. So that's how they're going to get you. Inspectors compare those to your ELD. If the dates and times don't match, you're going to have a problem. Mistakes versus tampering. Okay, here's another thing. There are mistakes made.
Absolutely.
Mistakes aren't made every day, though. Okay, and that's where you go from a mistake to tampering. A mistake, all right? The wrong duty status. A minor edit, okay? An annotation where you should have been off duty and you weren't, so you go back and you start fixing it. Tampering is different. Now, tampering starts looking at ghost drivers, okay? Some of these ELDs that have allowed people to add their own ghost driver, and they would run as much as they want, okay? And that's why they're no longer with us. That's why they're with the ghost driver now. Deleting a drive time, okay? This is a big deal. And this normally happens when somebody jumps up, moves their truck 10 feet and forgot to do a yard move or a personal conveyance, and it throwed them on the drive line. They blew their 10-hour or their 34-hour, and guess what? Now they're having to have it corrected. Well, if you do one of those every once in a while, that's one thing. If you do it consistently, that's where they're going to get you, okay? Disconnecting the ELD. This is huge, guys. You don't understand when you disconnect your ELD and move that truck, that, let's say you go to the mechanic and he disconnects it, then you move the truck while it's disconnected and you come back, there's a huge blip on your record now that shows that truck had been moved. So what you're going to need to do, let's say that was the case, what you're going to need to do is you're going to need a mechanic slip. You're going to need to note that in the ELD, and you're going to have the mechanic receipt showing that it was under the mechanic's control that moved that. But still, on our ELD, if we have an unclaimed drive time, it stays on your ELD flashing red for 7 days, and then it's noted into the bottom, okay? Understand that. You're not getting away with anything. You might think you are, but you are not. Manipulated logs. This falls back to the ghost drivers, constant corrections of drive time, going in there and changing things all the time.
15
that's where you're going to get
in a week.
Yeah. That's where you're going to get busted. Over your 14, over your 11, that's where you're going to get caught. And you've got to be aware of this, people, that this stuff is done. They are coming down hard. Not only does this affect your CSA score and your safety score, it's going to go on your driver's license. You guys don't realize this, but any violation you have goes against what's called your PSP reports.
PSP.
Okay. If it's a requirement that we pull a PSP report, and anything that you've happened that
it's a requirement for his company, but not overall.
Happened to you on a commercial driver's license, it's going to be on. Okay, you're going to be able to see it, and it doesn't go away. It doesn't cycle off like a regular, off your regular driver's license. This stays there so the whole driving community can see how you run. Okay, so if you're running dirty, it's going to be there. It's going to be a dirty stain right in the middle of your underwear over there on that PSP report.
True.
All right, so listen, trying to cheat the ELD system is one of the fastest ways to end your day. Okay, it's one of the fastest way to get your business shut down. I'm telling you, we dispatched for a guy that in a month he was cited for. It's going to go on your driver's license. Misuse of personal conveyance, which always the secondary on that is the falsification of laws.
Okay.
4 times a month. The next month, the FMCSA come in and shut his down. Just revoked his authority. So no, you can't run anymore. Done.
Yeah, because that's not forgetting or that's just abusing.
Yeah, absolutely.
People forget stuff, but when your logs, when they go in your logs and they see all these movement of times and you're moving this on duty status.
I'm on LinkedIn. Hello over there, everybody on LinkedIn. I don't know who you are though.
Is the PSP the same thing? Like when I used to get in trouble in school when I was little, and they told me it's always going on my permanent record. Is that kind of like my PSP? Is that stuff on my PSP too?
Yeah, when I was going to hire you and I pulled your PSP, I saw all the times you ended up skipping school and getting in trouble and sent to the principal's office. That's on your PSP. Just yours.
Oh, wow.
Just yours.
Okay.
And the fact that you
That's
needed...
not the only PSP.
Thank God your data. Thank God your data sucks.
Yeah.
Thank God your data sucks.
Off duty and that's not longer forgetting.
He blew his
That's
tranny.
messing around.
He did.
And if you are forgetting that much, you might need to be evaluated for like ADHD or something, because we do this every single day. We're touching that device every single day. It's muscle memory at this point, how to navigate that thing. So
my muscle memory anymore is when I go on duty and set it up there. I'm normally training or running a load, but I don't touch it. When my truck stops, it stops. When I move it, it moves. At the end of the day, I go off duty, and it is what it is. Unless, of course, normally I will forget to go off duty and have to go back and fix that. But that's not a big deal. So, all right. So, guys, here you go. Review your logs daily. Okay. Keep supporting documentation. If you have to do something, you have supporting documentation, and you keep it for a minute. All right. Fix errors immediately. Don't wait. In our ELD, when you get in the morning, it triggers you to approve and certify the day before's logs. So do that. Just get in the habit of it. And don't edit drive times unless it's 100% legitimate, because they are going to be looking at that like stink. So here's what I want the Q&A to go for tonight, Ron.
All right. That's a big deal, because there's a lot of people out there kind of doing this. And it's not just, it's everybody, right? So you're going to see a lot more of that being looked at. Again, like I said, freight brokers are going to start looking at more of this compliance type stuff, because, you're putting loads at risk. You're putting the shippers' loads at risk. You're putting, my name. If I pick a carrier to haul a load, that's my name on that load also, right? Because I picked that carrier for my shipper. So I need to pick responsible people to do that also. So this is all the stuff that is basically what's going on here. Let me refresh this. So you're going to have more freight brokerages doing this. So you're going to want to care about your compliance. If you didn't before, you better start, because like I said, all of these things that are out there affecting and that are being screamed about, that you have all these influencers that are now tagging the FMCSA, tagging Duffy, tagging all this stuff in regards to compliance. Well, compliance isn't just going to, like I said, it's not going to affect just one category of people. It's going to affect all trucking, right? And it's going to, so now brokers are going to start to look at compliance, and insurance always did. But this is kind of the aspect of the things that you're definitely going to want to jump on. All right. I think what I'm going to do here also, okay, this right here is the website. We haven't kind of started to push this yet, so you guys are getting a first-time look at a website that we're putting, this is kind of the website for the insurance company and the division that I am heading up, which I want to thank them for giving me an opportunity to do this. And I do have some people on the books for calls already. But if you are specialized equipment, if you are open deck, and you are 5 trucks or more, pretty much is what I'm doing at, or wanting to be 5 trucks or shooting for 5 trucks or more, you definitely check this out. Go to it's oversizeinsurance.com. This is my specialty. This is what I do. From a freight broker's aspect, from a trucking aspect, from an insurance aspect, this is what I do. So if you have this equipment and you are looking for any type of compliance, help with safety, help with any of that, and somebody to be able to best sell you to an underwriter for purposes of insurance, I'm your guy. And this is where you would go for that. That being said, also, search carriers. Next week, I will be doing a lot more with search carriers, because I'll be, being able to set that up. Search carriers is a website you can go to, type in a DOT number, type in a truck number, and get all their information. I mean, you can literally pull up all kinds of information on them. So if you're a freight broker, if you are let me do something real quick. Insurance company, all that stuff, or you just want to look up carriers to see their safety scores, see what's going on, that is the website for you. He's also got monthly plans and stuff like that. And then if you're looking for factoring, reach out to me. Shoot me a text at the number right here, 856-600-4654. I got to get Sonia back. Reach out to me. I'll get you hooked up with WEX if you're looking for factoring. That being said, I am going to check out of here. I'll be back next Tuesday. Probably not covered in Burger King bathroom floor. I want to talk about it. That being said, I am out.
Can you hear me now, Sage?
Hear the echoes in the night sky, where stars and headlights entwine. Tales of diesel and determination, living life beyond the white line.
On a desert stretch where silence roars, tires hum a solemn tune. Every journey writes its saga in the glow of the highway moon.
Sage outcast, Portat, where the big lows, big roads meet, talking miles, talking mental. Every rig, every route, every week, Sage outcast. Portat, from the yard to the last white line. If it's trucking and bones, deep hustle. You tune into that state of mind.
Keep the fire burning bright. While the world fades into night, through the miles, through the time, we ride on in the endless climb. Okay.
Sage, I'm sorry. Please don't record this.